There's a bull in the china shop. Actually, it's a 1,600-pound breeding bull standing outside my studio. No, really. Last August, Joan, my loving partner of the last decade or so, and I are having a nice dinner of veggie burgers and fresh salad from our garden. We're sitting on our deck enjoying a Maine mountain view, highlighted by Joan's flower garden. My love has the reputation with local farmers of being the best weeder in Oxford County, and she spent all day lovingly laboring in her quarter-acre plot. Suddenly, we hear a rustling 20 yards away in front of the small barn-shaped building that houses my studio. Again, the rustling comes from some nearby trees, fiercely followed by a guttural sound and a stomping of hooves. Then, standing right in front of my studio, is my neighbor's prize bull, looking very confused. He's escaped once again through the barbed wire fence that divides our property. And in his nose, he's sporting a large metal ring. Now, nose rings have always scared and confused me, even when they're in the pug nose of an underweight 20-something. But in the snout of a very big mammal, it's intimidation impersonified. Footnote, or might I say, nose note. Contrary to city slickers' myths, the ring in a bull's nose functions not only as a handle for controlling the beast, but rather to keep the bull from suckling the tit of a mother cow, which the hungry bull could unintentionally brutalize. Some primal instincts never go away when nature equips you with only a pea-sized brain. Adding to the growing urgency of the bull is standing within a few feet of my one-man junk band. The one that I spent years building and that I now take to county fairs making my living as a touring musician with. I've just taken a break from oiling all the parts and sprucing it up for my coming fall tour of fairs. I watch as Senor Bull rocks back and forth trying to decide with that pea-sized brain what to do with this strange obstacle in its path. I've laid the band out in parts mid-project across the lawn as I'm working on it. It's comprised of a washboard, banjo uke, a new $1,000 sound system, and an assortment of yard sale whistles, horns, and drums, including a 28-inch Slingerland marching drum that I've hand-painted with a mountain landscape in the jazz style of drums from the 20s. Not to mention my prized snare drum, the one that I salvaged off a 100-year-old steam-powered Wurlitzer band organ, last appraised at $2,000 plus. All in all, the bull is looking at $5,000 worth of equipment and maybe $2,000 man-hours of design, construction, and dreams. To me, it is priceless. I cannot breathe. A small voice sitting next to me whispers, "My garden!" Joan is looking at her walking labyrinth flower garden, the one that she's designed and has labored over since we first moved in together. The garden with cuttings from plants that she's spent a lifetime lovingly acquiring and watching grow. The walking wedding labyrinth that we plan on dancing down someday if and when we get hitched. The garden is her baby, and at this moment it is in full bloom and magnificent. Also, it's only a few feet to the left of Senor Bull. We don't breathe. I think I could make some noise to scare it off. I've done this several times before, successfully with my neighbor's cows, dashing into the field with a couple of my crash cymbals, whatever I could get my hands on, before a cattle stampede trampled a season's worth of hard work or gobbled up all our corn. But this is 1,600 pounds of prime beef with very little cognitive thinking power, and I'm a liberal vegetarian whip with no farm management experience whatsoever. I'm definitely outmatched. We don't breathe. We wait. In every moment exists eternity. I suddenly realized that Senor Bull, Joan, and I share something in common: uncertainty and fear. Still, we don't breathe. We wait. Then, abruptly, this boxcar of hormones and flesh calls out a fearful and charges, veering to the right, just between the garden and my band, following the outside studio wall as if through a rodeo chute, charging into our lower field, and after pirouetting in panic a few times, follows our running trail into another neighbor's field. Oh, we breathe. We breathe again. In every moment exists eternity. I call one neighbor and inform them of their escapee, and call another to warn them of the bovine prisoner crossing the border into their territory. A few minutes later, one neighbor follows the fugitives trailed, armed with a rattling pail of feed grain and a flimsy-looking rope. We found out later that together the neighbors wrestled the beast into the trailer, sustaining in the course of action several nasty bruises each. We were also informed, I'm sad to say, that Senior Bull was retired soon after to the freezer. We all have those moments where we find ourselves facing our own personal bull in a china shop, whether it's a boss, politician, or a common schoolyard bully. The only thing we need to remember is to breathe. Know that you are both in the moment feeling fear. Breathe again and again until the sense of eternity in the moment, the inner smile, the peace. Let the fear run its course through the other. If they don't choose the gateway that brings them peace, that's their choice. It'll lead them down one path. Yours will lead you down another and keep you safe. As one strong, wise, courageous old man in a wheelchair once spoke, there is nothing to fear but fear itself. No truer words have ever been breathed. With that thought as a beacon of truth, FDR took on the whole of the German and Japanese nations and saved the world from a madman, bringing us safely home as one nation, indivisible. Breathe.